And this morning I got the pleasure of greeting my longtime friend Thomas Willms, who is the CEO of Deutsche Hospitality. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning, Nils. Greetings to Cape Town.
You are in, where are you now?
I'm in my home office in Munich. My official office is in Frankfurt, but due to circumstances, I'm working 1 week here, 1 week in Frankfurt. So I'm beautiful Munich. We have blue skies like always here, and it all looks white and blue.
Excellent. Thomas, tell us a little bit about Deutsche Hospitality. Not everybody knows Deutsche Hospitality. There are 2-3 people who might not know about it. What do you guys do? Where are you present? And what are your brands?
Yeah, maybe more people might know Steigenberger. The Steigenberger Hotel AG has been around. Actually, this year we are celebrating the 90th anniversary. So back in 1930, we started in Baden-Baden. It's not the time to celebrate really, but we have a huge plan to celebrate. So we might move this like the Olympics, like the football, like the Expo and everything else is moved towards 21. So the Steigenberger is one of our major brands. We also have a brand which is called Intercity Hotels for 30 years, also 40 hotels in that brand. We have created Jazz in the City, a young design brand, a lifestyle brand. We have Max by Steigenberger as a conversion and soft brand, and we just acquired a year ago sleep hotels in Denmark and Sweden, about 10 hotels.
Yeah, I spoke to you a few weeks ago.
Oh, you did? Yeah. A nice brand, which we now roll out. We have signed deals in Madrid, in Prague, and in Frankfurt. So we will bring this to the more southern part of Europe, looking out of the perspective out of Denmark. So the umbrella brand is Deutsche Hospitality. We have 150 hotels, 120 are open, 30 in the make at the moment, definite in the pipeline, in the building phase. And obviously we have a new shareholder. We have been acquired by the beginning of the year in January by Huazhu. And this company based in Shanghai has 6,000 hotels. So now we are more a global company than ever.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, we spoke about 120 hotels that are open. How many of them are operating right now?
Yeah, that depends on the countries. In Middle East, we have almost all hotels closed. So in Dubai, even our hotels has been taken over by the health authorities. So we have it actually for 300 people for hospitalized, not corona patients, but hospitalized. So this has been an idea for many hotels in the Middle East. In Germany, we have 7 open, the mission critical hotels next to the airports, like the Steigenberger Airport in Frankfurt, or like the Steigenberger Kanzleramt in Berlin, next to the main stations for the crisis teams of the government, and for intercity hotels, a few. But only 7 are open, 1 in Amsterdam, also at the airport. The rest is closed. So for a hotelier with passion, it's very hard not to have hotel guests in our hotel. So I'm going to our Munich property today to look at it, to look over the hygiene measurements, which we are starting. We have invited a few journalists as well to show them live how it will work in the next couple of weeks. But it's hard not to see guests for us.
Yeah, no, as you say, as a hotelier at heart, as we both are, it's not what you want to ever see. Tell me, if you can, tell us a little bit more about how you will get ready for those that are not open yet, or what have you implemented in the ones that are open? I mean, what are the reassurances that you give your guests? Because there will be undoubtedly some who are a little bit afraid, edgy, but they have to travel or want to travel, but want to have that comfort that they can travel without being exposed to too much risk.
Well, the ones that are open, there's no food and beverage served, so we do full room service. So there are no restaurants, obviously, no buffets, no bars. That's all not allowed. So like the airport hotels, we have about an occupancy of 20%. So let's say 80 to 100 rooms. So we're delivering 80 to 100 room service breakfast, and also the same for the dinner. Which is logistically a little bit challenging because all at the same time, as you know, but it is what it is. So we catered for that. When we open now, there are certain restrictions. It depends on the country, and also in Germany, as you know, we have 16 different states and 16 different health ministers. And so that's a little complicated. We are waiting actually by the hour this week for the new sort of regulations. In Petersberg, in the beautiful Petersberg, which is near Cologne, we will open already our terraces on the 15th, so by the weekend. In Munich, the outside areas of beer gardens can be open by the 18th, and the hotels roughly by the 25th or 30th of May. So in June, we can open hotels for touristic purposes. At the moment, we always can open hotels for business, but as you know, there's no business travel, and there's no convention business, there are no fairs. So business travel, because there's no flights, is not happening. So for touristic purposes, we are now again allowed to open our hotels. So we're getting ready, especially in the resort areas, like in Heringsdorf or Zingst or Bad Wörishofen or Konstanz at the Lake Konstanz. So there we have high demand. So we have to be ready to make sure our associates are safe, but also our guests have to be safe. So the restrictions are every second table can only be occupied. We have to wear masks. Obviously sanitations, we have contactless check-in, we have plexiglass sort of borders at the areas. Only 2 persons can enter a lift unless you are a family, and so on and so on. So it looks like a very sterile, hygienic hotel. Breaks a little bit my heart, but I think it's necessary. I support the health authorities. I think Germany has done a great job, and the numbers show very good signs that we have not been hit hard as far as the health system is concerned. But I also want to make very clear, if we open the hotels, we're not talking about 70% occupancy. So we're looking at maybe 10, 15, 25% occupancy. You and I know, and PKF knows well, that a hotel below 50%, it's hard to make profits. So it's more sort of a reduction of losses. We still have to pay the leases. We still have to pay the rents. You know, Germany is a lease market. Yeah. The leases are between 20 and 30% of the revenues. Even though we have good relationships to our landlords and owners, but leases have only been deferred. So deferral means they have to be paid at another stage. Yeah. So what we do at the moment is welcoming guests again. Selective hotels. When we have cities like Hamburg and Berlin where we have 7 or 8 hotels, we will only open a few. But it's more about reducing losses, bringing back our loyal guests again. Because and the people who have to travel, they want to stay with us, and that's what we want to make sure. Yeah. That's the idea. So it's something which never happened. There's no book. There's no crisis book how to reopen. So we go by the government rules. We have our own system, of course, and let's see how that works.
Yeah. Thomas, just to come back to the resort hotels and the expected occupancy, I don't know. I mean, I suppose they are open in the system, as we say, bookable. Do you see a big difference between city hotels and resort hotels in terms of demand?
Leisure will come first. Statistically, some sort of statistics say that UK and Germany will have the best sort of inbound domestic travel, because these countries are the world champions in traveling outside. The Great Britain, UK, traveling to Portugal and Spain and Italy in the summer, the Germans, the same sort of countries. So they all will stay in the countries, but theoretically we don't have 50 million beds in the country. Yeah. But people will no travel to Tunisia or to Egypt. There are no flights anyway before fall. So resorts are at the moment under high demand, but we are only allowed to take about 60-70%. In some states, we even have to keep a room empty after someone has occupied it for 7 days. So this is a very complicated sort of procedure.
Which puts a lot
also,
of pressure.
if you do meetings, you need 5 square meters per person for coffee breaks. So just think about it. You have 50 people in a meeting room. You need 250 square meters for the coffee break, which is half a ballroom. So all this is complicated at the moment, and we have to learn it and look at best practices. But I think resorts will be the first to come back. I think then city tourism will be strong. I'm sure Vienna, Munich, Berlin, there will be Dresden, there will be a high demand in city tourism. We feel that intercity hotels will come also back earlier, because we have 70% domestic travel. If you take a hotel like the Frankfurter Hof, that's 70% international travel. And don't forget, we will not have meetings, we will not have fairs, we will not have congresses. This is 50% of our business. So 50% will not happen, only in small meetings. There's no Oktoberfest, there's there's no Automechanica, there's no book fair. So the high-rated business, the high-rate profitable business is not there. So leisure is different, but still, we have to take what we get, and we want to welcome the guests. I think that's important.
Now, as difficult as it may be, but from here, I'm trying to skip whatever we're going through right now and will be going through the next few months, hopefully, and not years. Pipelines. We were talking a few months ago, everybody was talking about big pipelines, and these are the plans and whatever you, and in the conversation recently, I was talking to some other people about pipelines. What does your pipeline look like, and how has it changed with what we know now, or the little that we know now?
CEOs love to talk about pipelines. That's the name of the game. You know, development is important. We're working on roughly 100 projects, actively 57. And I looked at that actually by the number for my board meeting. 10 have been killed by Corona, if you want to take it like a hard number. 10 have been killed by Corona. So out of the 57, it's about 20%. They're just delayed. Also, construction-wise, it's hard because the supply chains are not there. Like our Jazz in the City in Vienna, which we wanted to open by New Year's Eve, will be now moved in Q1 because also the workers from Eastern Europe are not there. So everything is moved. But I'm still surprised how much demand is there on the development side. So my people, even they are on short term at the moment, or sort of taking vacation, they're taking turns in the office. And the 57 deals are actively negotiated as we speak. And I think it's important to be just prudent and to continue to be prudent in the deals which we do. Many of us for the last 10 years have signed leases that there would be no tomorrow. So I think we are in a way in a lucky situation that we have not really signed very, very crazy leases. If you think about sort of, I don't want to talk about generations, but someone who's 30 out of university has not seen a crisis like this. Right? So what we have seen in 9/11 and Lehman and sort of the crisis, and it's every 10 years, usually 7 years. So this party went on for the last 10 years. So someone who is 35 and came out of university has not seen the crisis. So I don't want to talk about more experienced, mature people, but in a way we have seen this, and we know it will go up again, but this crisis is worse than any crisis. This is the worst we have seen, and I don't want to repeat all the numbers we know from the statistics, but it's the worst ever. And so it's important that the sales department still goes on and the development part still goes on, but financing will be a new issue, loan to values, credit ratings for companies. So all this, who am I talking about that? That's your expertise from your company. And Michael and Christian and yourself and all the team, but I think there will be no idea if there will be an Expo Real, if there will be IHIF.
We're working on it. No, we are working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, we hope, because I think we need to continue. But life goes on in a way.
Absolutely, and I think that's really what, when you talk about the pipeline, I think that's good to hear that there's still plans being made, because I don't think there's any point in now really saying nothing will happen. Life will carry on and we will come out of this. We are hopelessly out of time. Thomas, I want to thank you very much for your time. I know you're very, very busy. You're rushing off to somewhere just now. So thank you. All the very, very best to you, your family, and the company, of course, Deutsche Hospitality. May that pipeline stay strong and the openings go well. And yeah, all the very, very best. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nils. Greetings to the Cape.